Now, before we get to that interview, just a couple of quick announcements. Number one, I have set up a PayPal tip jar. Now, as you know, this podcast is free to download, free to subscribe to. But if you are inclined to drop a tip, you can do that now securely through PayPal. There'll be a link in the show notes for that. And announcement number two, wanted to give a shout out to my friend Scotty Burford, former guest of the show, the world record breaking guitarist, has launched a website, Great Scott Music. I'll have links to that in my show notes. And there's links there to Scotty's teaching stuff, which is really great. And also a couple of podcasts, which he has just dropped into the world. So the first is called Smile and Wave. Has lots of humorous and thoughtful anecdotes from a life in the music industry. And also there's another one called Iconic Guitars, Iconic Guitarists. The first of which is a deep dive into the guitar styles of Dave Gilmour of Pink Floyd. And it's just really, really well done. So I can't encourage you enough to check that stuff out. So as I said, links in the show notes. All right, let's jump over now to my interview with Elad Yaacov and Lee Alexander from Tonepedia. All right, Elad and Lee, welcome to the Guitar Speak podcast.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so Elad, you are in Germany.
Yep, in Bremen, in north of Germany right
now. In the north, nice. And Lee, I've never asked, what part of Great Britain are you in?
I'm in Dover, which is as close to Germany, I suppose, as you can get from the UK. I can see France from my little town down here.
No way, that's awesome.
That's where I am.
The cliffs of Dover, no less.
Yes, I drive past them regularly.
Wow, that's cool, man. Very cool. Well, hey, guys, welcome. Great to have you on the show, obviously from Tonepedia. Now, Tonepedia, I've recently become aware of you, but Tonepedia as an entity has been around for quite a number of years. Lad, could you talk us through the history up until now with Tonepedia?
Yeah, sure. So Tonepedia was a brainchild of friends of mine and myself in Israel many years ago, I think around 12 years ago, when we wanted to open a marketplace for musical instruments where people can listen to the product before they purchase it. And it started with because of, as when you grow up, when we grew up in Israel, and it's a tiny country, you don't have a lot of boutique makers sending products to Israel or selling in Israel. That you didn't have it back then. Today it's different. So essentially, you could only buy products from Yamaha, Ibanez, Gibson, Fender, Takamine, I think, and that was basically it. And we wanted to be able to purchase boutique stuff, and that's how the idea came. It was hey, we would be able to listen to the product, realize that this is what we want, and then we would be able to purchase it secondhand in a marketplace thing.
Sure, yeah.
And then it didn't really work out well back then, and I kind of took over the company. We shut it down in Israel, moved to Germany, and pivoted to create this interactive experiencing platform for musical instruments where you can literally try out the products as you know Tonepedia today.
Yeah, awesome. And that was my introduction when Lee started talking about this site through Pedalboards of Doom and another group that I'm in with Lee. And that was my introduction. And man, the interactive site, it is so much fun and such a brilliant idea. Now, I know this is a podcast, but Elad or Lee, could one of you talk through what the interface looks like and what the experience is for the user?
Yeah, I can do that. It's on the face of it. Say we're talking about a pedal because pedalboards are Doom, so I'm going to talk about pedals, aren't I? But if you've got a pedal and you're going to try it out, you've got the pedal in the middle. To the left of you, you've got two guitars. To the right of you, you've got two amps, and you can choose whichever amp, whichever guitar, and you can swap them all over. You can generally switch the pickups on the guitars, so you've got a little bridge and neck and middle pickup selector below the guitars. And on the amps, sometimes you can change different parameters such as reverb and the amount of gain going into them. But in the middle, on the pedal, you can change what type of playing style that you're listening to. So you can listen to a rock demo, you can listen to basic chords. And that's really important for me, because the first thing I do whenever I plug a guitar in or plug a pedal in is I play a G chord.
I play an E chord.
You play an E chord?
Yeah, every time, like, it's like a bam, and then I was like, try to switch something on the pedal, and I go bam. So you play a G chord.
I always just play a G chord really slowly as well, like ring, and kind of let it ring out just to like hear it. I want to hear if I can hear string separation. That's the thing I want to be able to hear, and the attack as well. So I'm listening for pick attack and those sort of things. But yeah, I'll go back to that. So I'm looking at one now, and it's my very own Rat that's on there. And I'm looking, and I've got 7 positions that I can try out distortion, and I've got 3 on the filter, so 3 different positions. So that means to me that I've got 21 different audio files just for the Rat. Times that by 2 for the different guitars, and then times that by another 2 for the different amps, and that gives you an idea of what you're looking at. You're looking at something where you can go in, and no one's telling you what to listen to. You can just go in and you can try this thing to your heart's content. And I have spent quite a proportion of my life since I've found out about Tonepedia using this thing. It's great.
That's so good. It is very addictive running your stuff through various amps. Because, of course, with the boom in the last few years for demo channels on YouTube or wherever, that stuff's great. But often you think, man, I would love to hear that Rat through my amp or through a guitar I'm likely to play, rather than whatever the demo guy is using. So
we do love demos. We do love YouTube demos, don't we, man?
No, I would say that it's trying to bring the other side. So YouTube brings the personal opinion of somebody, because the guitar player, even if I would now be the completely most unbiased that I can, and I'm going to play something, if I like the product that I'm presenting, then I'm just going to play better. It happens, right? And so Tonepedia is trying to bring the other side of things. Like we're trying to say, actually, we don't make anything sound good, like in a way. And like also, if our clients now are hearing, they know this sentence that we couldn't care less about making anything sound great, because for us it's to show how good it sounds, and that's what it's all about. It's giving the user the power to go to the website and put head-to-head 2 overdrive pedals, for example, or let's say delay, because Lee's going to talk about overdrives all the time, so I would say delays, 2 delay pedals, and to be able to understand the repeats and how the repeats sound and tweak the knobs, So it's obviously we do everything like it's completely analog recording. Everything is recorded in an analog way. It's not a simulation. It's not a plugin. So the amount of work is quite insane. And that's why we picked up, for example, we chose a Fender Strat and a Gibson Les Paul as the default guitars.
Sure.
And the Vox and the Fender as the default amplifiers, because you cannot do any guitar in the world with any amplifier in the world. So we said, okay, what do users have, or what do they know usually? So everybody would know a standard, like American standard Stratocaster,
Sure,
and also there, just like to finish this, like also there, we didn't pick the custom shop 62 whatever, even though we could. Fender, when we start working, they said like any guitar that you guys need, but we said no, we need something that people are familiar with. So we were just going to take this standard, American standard, and that's it. And that's our approach.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Les Paul is the traditional as well, which is
exactly.
Yeah, same kind of thing, but on the Les Paul. It is something that gets to me a little bit when I do see a YouTube video and they're using like a £4,000 guitar and a £5,000 amp.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I know that rig's going to sound good no matter what you put through it. If it doesn't, you need to get your money back.
Yes, yeah.
So it's it all comes down to the playing ability as well, and that's something that I think Tonepedia really helps with, because if you're a beginner and you come to here, you might not be able to play what you want to be able to play eventually. And the playing styles on here are all done by session musicians. So that's a great way of doing it, because we've got various different session musicians who play. I'm just looking at the playing styles on here. You've got power chords, basic power chords, rock rhythm, a solo, and a range demo. And it just gives you so much flexibility to try out various different setups. It's just, you don't get that from any other media. And it'd be nice if you did, but I can't see how you would. So, doing it this way is it is obvious, really.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love the choice of amps as well, because as you guys know, different pedals sound dramatically different depending on what sort of amp they're running to. So a fuzz into a Fender versus a Marshall or a Vox, or it's going to be a totally different animal. And I guess your site allows people to work out, okay, this pedal is going to sound great through my amp, or you know what, this pedal maybe is not the right match for my amp.
Yep.
Which I love that.
And we're thinking about more solutions in that direction. It's also, you see companies that literally take exactly what you said and they take it forward. So when Boss are doing with us a pedal, regardless of which pedal it is, they would demo it also through a jazz chorus. And the reason for that is because they say, look, a jazz chorus has like it's an amplifier which is like a commercial amplifier by its own, and it's important for us that users will be able to listen to high gain distortion also through it, even though to some people it won't make sense. Maybe to others it will make sense, and for us it's important that everybody would be able to understand how Boss pedals react on different amplifiers.
I was thinking about when we did a lot of work with Strandberg, and we added a 6505 on there as well. So that was completely new to us as a company, and it was something that I hope Elad doesn't mind me saying, but it's something I pushed a lot, because we're growing as a company and we want to adopt like the metal scene into it, the ambient scene, and all these people around. So as Tonepedia grows, you'll see us covering more than just blues and these sort of things. And if you go on to the strandbergguitars.com/playground, you can see it's such a wonderful experience. I'll let you, as the listener, and you, Matt, try that for yourselves. But yeah, go ahead and have a bash at that, because you've also got the Boss Katana on there as well. So you've still got the Vox and the Fender, but you've got the Katana on there and the 6505. So you've got a wide range.
And more are coming, by the way. But we cannot share what is coming.
Really?
But some big things are for the Strandberg Playground. It's a crazy thing. It's amazing. It's a lot of fun, and it's gonna even become more fun very soon.
You mentioned the analog recording process. So say we've got a pedal or one guitar, or let's say a pedal. Say you got a pedal. What's the process for you guys recording that and having all these permutations available for the listener?
All right. So it goes like this. We have our guitars. They were recorded and stored on our computers. Okay, so that they basically, the DIs are ready to be reamped. In quite a special way. Okay, and what we do is we run then the signal of the guitar from the computer, right? Through the amplifiers, which are controlled by robotic arms and human beings together, and the controls are being set for the correct settings, reamped through amplifiers that sit in amplifier rooms and mic'd, and all of this is basically going back to the computer, uploaded to our cloud, and then users can interact with it.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Just to give an example, so if you look, we have two kinds of playing styles generally, okay? playing style types, several playing styles, but 2 types. One is like range demo types, which does exactly what you would do in a shop. You would just go to the shop, right? And you're going to put stuff to minimum, stuff to maximum, makes sense, doesn't make sense. You don't care. You just want to see, does it go to 11?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So that's exactly the range demo stuff. And you would get there usually 7 settings on the gain with 3 settings on the EQ, and like you can mix and match. It's a lot of settings, and so that's one thing. Second is the signature demos, which are showcasing the pedal in base case, in how you would use it. If you have it. So we would set it for a great solo sound, 3 presets of solo or of rock and roll style playing style. And that's what you would get from Tonepedia, and that's how the process is being done. So exactly as you would try it out by yourself. Like this.
Wow. That must be a huge amount of work then to...
Insane.
To run it through all the different options. Wow. Wow, that's huge.
I've got a question for you, Elad. What's the longest demo? How long is the... how am I supposed to ask this? How long is how much work in days have we put into at maximum to a pedal? Or any instrument? Oh,
dear God. I don't know. If you look at the JB2, the JHS Boss animal over there.
The Angry Driver.
Yeah, the Angry Driver.
Yeah.
This thing has thousands of audio files, like thousands and thousands and thousands. Or the Worm from KMA. I remember the day that we did this. Danny is the name of our sound engineer, and I remember it coming out, and he's like, I can't take it anymore. I can't. It's too many audio files. I can't do it. It's insane. Like literally, I think that we all need to go to a mental house and admit ourselves, submit ourselves to it. It's really crazy.
It sounds intense, but the end result is amazing. All the options. So very cool. How many amps and pedals and guitars are we talking about?
I think that currently we have roughly 600 and something released, and a lot of them are going to come out soon. So we have some big releases with some companies at the moment coming up, and exciting products joining. So currently around 600 with 100 more coming very quick.
That's a lot of pedals.
And acoustic guitars and everything.
Great, man. So good.
And we've got a big standing in the acoustic guitar world. One that will ring true to your listeners is Cole Clark. We've got a lot of their stuff on there as well.
Great Aussie company. Fantastic.
True. Yeah. Actually, Cole Clark, Santa Cruz, Lake, Loudon, like a lot of companies, great companies.
Nice. How do you develop a relationship with these companies? So I guess I'm sort of digging into your business model a little bit. So obviously, I know when you go to the Tonepedia site, I can then, if I find, say, a pedal I like, I can then go and buy that right from the site. Or I can be directed to a store in my region of the world.
That's sort of a new feature. So we've been asked quite a lot to sell products direct, and our answer was a very strict no way that we're going to do this because we are unbiased, and we're going to stay unbiased. We are there for the user and not for anybody else. So we are not going to put ourselves in the position that we want to sell something. And when users started to come and say, look, this is a little bit crazy, right? You let me try out the products. I found what I need. Now I need to go somewhere else and search for it. So we enabled this buy now affiliate thing where simply a user can click on it and then he's being referred to shops within his area that have this product in stock and that he can get the product. So that's a new thing, and we have the first partner in Australia now. Better Music just signed, So that's great. So now it's a beginning.
Awesome. Better Music is fantastic. I've only been there once because they're about 4 hours from my house, but I went there earlier this year. With a mate of mine was looking for a particular guitar, and they were the biggest retailers in Australia, and they were excellent, and their shop's amazing. So. They
have a lot of. I would say, for us, we're very happy to accept more shops, and you don't have to have a big shop or we welcome everyone. Mm-hmm. It's a part of our focus is to bring the industry together, and for us, if now a boutique shop from Australia would come and say, "Hey, I want to jump in, I want to be a part of this," then we, with open arms, we're going to accept everyone.
Wow, cool.
What's really, really handy with this is we're not just focusing on shops with these sort of things. We're focusing on schools, for instance, and we're like music schools. So we're saying to the schools, okay, you're able to go out there and teach these guys like the minor scale or what have you, and that's great. But what about gear? How are you going to show them that you can stand there all day long and tell them what the difference between a blues driver and a rap is, but unless they hear it for themselves, how are they going to do this? So I don't know about you guys, but when I was younger, I could not, for love nor money, and I know Elad's already told us, but I couldn't get my hands on pedals that weren't the cheaper end of the market, if at all. And all the guitar shops around where I live are really, really small. So it's a bit like your situation, Matt, where it takes me 3 hours either way to go to a big guitar shop to go and try stuff.
Okay, yeah.
I don't need to do that now. Yeah. I can simply go on there. And for schools and these sort of places and music universities, we have teamed up with schools, and we're doing that at the moment. So we're actively saying to schools that if this is something that you think could be useful to you, hit us up, let us know, because we're more than excited to work with schools and to give people what we didn't have when we were younger.
Oh man, 16-year-old me would have loved this site if the internet was invented back then.
I have a funny story for you guys. I'm sure that you were all there. You remember the day that you kind of had a revelation of sound, you heard something and it's like, that's how he got that sound. You remember this? Everybody has this, and I experienced this. I saw this through Tonepedia in the eyes of a 12-year-old girl, actually, that we were running user experience tests in a shop in Germany, and where we were just giving an iPad to people to play around with it. And regardless their age or who they are or what they are, or if they came to buy something or not, and this girl started playing with it, which, by the way, it's amazing to see how the younger generation immediately understands everything about everything, right?
Yes,
And so she plays with this thing, and then she take off her headphones, and she says to her daddy, that's how I want to sound. That's what I need. And you look at it, it was an MXR Distortion Plus. Mm-hmm. And he was like, you know what? And he was like, that's like Green Day. This is what I need. It sounds like Green Day. And the dad, I don't think he understood what Green Day is even back, in the second, because he just told her, you need to continue studying your classical guitar. And she told him, I don't want my classical guitar. I want to sound like Green Day. And it was a personal win for me that I saw him afterwards in the checkout with the MXR Distortion Plus.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, and so cool, so cool.
I have a story about that pedal as well.
No stories about distortions from you. I'm sorry, on Overclass.
It was when I was very young, first started playing, and I wanted to get that Randy Rhoads tone. And everyone was saying, "Oh, you need an MXR Distortion Plus." And I thought, okay, cool. So I got it and I put it in through my little transistor amp. And I was like, it's broken. It's not working. What the hell's going on? Is it my guitar? You go around checking all your leads and everything, and no one tells you, okay, yes, Randy Rhoads did use that, but he used it into a Marshall at full pelt, and he was just pushing it like you can use a tube screamer sort of thing.
Yeah.
And no one knows that, because you're all 14, 15 years old. You're all on the same level.
Yeah.
It's just someone's read somewhere, this is a bit of gear that Randy Rhoads used.
Yeah.
Right.
If I had Tonepedia at that time, I could have gone, okay, let's go and listen to the Distortion Plus. Hang on a minute. No, that's not the right tone. Go through, find out what it is. Bang, there, done. But then, that could have saved me a few quid.
Yeah, I was young. I was too young back then. I'm sorry. Didn't come with ideas back then.
Hey, you mentioned working with Strandberg. How do you guys work with luthiers and gear builders? How have you partnered with some of those companies?
So for the big companies, usually we meet everybody at NAMM shows and guitar summits and stuff like this. We have two kind of options. Like one is to send the guitars here, and then we demo them here. And the other, we created a way for them to present and to demo their guitars from their studios. So this is kind of an innovative next thing for us, but we just released it some time ago. And now we're having an increase in luthiers that would like to use this service, enabling them to basically showcase the product from their own place, and through the cloud, everything happens here, and then boom, it's presented on their website. I would say that despite being a startup, and startups, you need to have this growth. But again, we put to ourselves this mission of liberalizing the world of musical instruments. And by that, we know that boutique makers sometimes don't have the same abilities or financial abilities, I would say, the huge companies. So we offer different terms for boutique makers, and we really try our best, to make it a place for everyone. Because as I shared, I opened this company in the beginning because I wanted to buy boutique stuff. That was the reason. And I am the biggest believer that sound does not come with a brand name. Sound comes with nothing attached to it. It's sound. And it can come from a big company, a small company in Korea or the US or wherever it is. So important for us to get those guys on board, and that's a big thing for us.
So it's cool when you see the pedal that was made in China or something like that, and everyone's going mad for it. I always like that because it just shows that delay or that they just got it. They just got it right. It wasn't a case of I've got lots of money or I live in the right place to get that right. This company just went and got it right, and it's regardless of race, regardless of where location, these sort of things, and that is what Tonepedia is at its core, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I bought products because of Tonepedia, boutique stuff that I just came in for demos, and I literally bought a guitar which I was completely against it. Completely against it when I heard about the idea, an acoustic guitar, 12 fret, completely not my thing at all. And it arrived, and and then I heard the demos, and I was like, holy crap, this thing sounds amazing. I have to check it. I have to take the guitar right now, and I got the guitar in my hands, and it's I just bought it. I sent to the luthier. I was like, bank account and how much money, and that was it, and I paid at the end just like everybody else would pay, no discounts or anything, boutique maker, and we should do you should support, of course. At the end of the day, they realized that they sold me their very own founders, that's his own guitar they accidentally sent to me. He's not getting it back though. That's it. It's done.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Did I read somewhere you're doing artist profile? Like, I think I saw something about Joe Satriani.
Yeah, that was the when did she put this hack exactly?
It was April Fool's.
It was April
Oh,
Fool's.
nice. And
Yeah.
what even was that, Lee? What?
I didn't even write his name. I just put a picture.
This is a picture. Yeah.
Yeah, and let me look it up. I'll tell you. Oh my god, that was ages ago. But yeah, but that's not to say it's never going to happen. Keep an eye on what's happening, because we have things underway at the moment. We can't divulge exactly what they are, but I can definitely divulge that unfortunately Satch isn't one of them. God, that
At
would
the
make
moment,
my life.
for the time being.
Not yet.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
I'm the biggest Satriani fan, and that would make me extremely happy.
I would love that Mark. I would want Mark Knopfler to join. That would be great.
There are some tones right
Yeah,
there.
but there is definitely an idea there, and we are. Some stuff is going to come out soon.
Okay.
It's gonna happen. Yeah.
So without
it's pretty damn exciting.
one of my questions was, what are some of the future plans? Obviously, don't want you to divulge any secrets that you can't talk about yet. But is there anything you can talk about? Any future ideas on where Tonepedia might end up?
So yes, our mission is to, as we said, to inspire people to make music through gear, and we are currently working on a vintage museum in order to do two things. Like, first thing is those items becomes more and more scarce, and you can find less and less of those, like unique pedals or vintage guitars, and we would like to make it feasible, like accessible for everybody to kind of try out those instruments, those legacy instruments, and also to compare them to the current market and the current products that are being produced, in order to, in a way, break the myth a little bit as well, and to show to people that you don't need to spend $2,000 or $3,000 or on a piece of instrument just because this is what's going to make you sound better. There's so many great makers out there that are making amazing products, and nobody can really compare them. So now we are doing this. We started with it already. There are already several vintage guitars, vintage pedals, a very cool all original MK 1.5 is coming in right now, soon going to be released, and some vintage fuzz faces, and
Awesome.
and all of that stuff.
That's the tone bender, isn't it? The
the solo sound.
Wow.
So and we've been also lucky to get support from collectors and from shops, like supporting us in this endeavor of vintage museum.
Fantastic.
So that's great, and we've been working quite hard on enabling the digital twin showroom, which is the concept of enabling boutique makers and shops to demo their products from their own location, that I just shared with you before.
That's great.
So that's another coming thing. We already have several companies using this feature, and we're growing it as well. And
so I could be a custom builder, and I could embed a Tonepedia player on my website with just my pedals, for example.
Exactly.
Wow,
and you
cool.
can, the cool thing, you're able to demo them from your own location as well. So
brilliant.
So it's it's brilliant, like in the terms of how it's working. It took us a long time to develop this. It's the processes, because we need to stand in some, like the sound needs to be in some standard of quality, like in order to comply with our demos. So it took time to get it done correctly, and we're very happy with this. You can already see some products, some demos like this in the market by us. B&G guitars are using it now, and some shops in the US and in Germany. How cool is that? Like, you can listen to the guitar that you're about to buy. Like, and not anything else. Like, this is the guitar.
It sounds like such a simple idea on one hand, an interactive site where you can try out gear. But yeah, anyone, if you spend it more than 30 seconds thinking about how you would actually do that, it's obvious it's a huge undertaking. So I love it that you guys have done it, and that you're starting to see some traction through some of these different companies you're working with, and just the site as a standalone as well. So well done.
Yeah, thanks. Like, we do it with a lot of love, and it hasn't been an easy ride. It's definitely, like, with a lot of devotion. You still get, like, from some companies, sometimes they raise their, like, eyebrow, and it's like, huh, okay. But, like, I would really want to present myself in a video, and like, we try to tell them, look, like, I understand that you want to basically affect the decision of the person that sees the video, like, but there is a different angle here. People they would like to make their own aware decision, and this is what we are about. And we have some great companies that they liked the idea so much, but exactly, they said, how is this possible? And they literally flew in. They booked a hotel, flew into Tonepedia for a few days, just to get a tour in the offices, like, and I would recommend to you and to the listeners, you guys, if you want to just go check out go to YouTube, write Tonepedia Strandberg or Tonepedia Jensen, the loudspeaker manufacturer Jensen. We did some big project with these guys. They flew in here, and we videoed the entire process, and we made, like, a video out of this, so you can see, get a glimpse to our offices and how we work.
Oh, excellent. Well, I'll leave some links in the show notes for this episode. But I mean, if you just Google Tonepedia, you're going to find lots of really cool things. So
yeah, for sure.
That's great.
One of the things we've been doing as well is we have been growing our own YouTube side of things. So you can try it out on YouTube, and then you can go and see myself and Emmanuel and others, like just playing the pedals and playing the guitars and these sort of things. So we've got that side covered as well, guys. And please go and subscribe to our YouTube page and our Instagram page.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, fantastic. Well, Elad and Lee, thank you so much, and good luck as you continue to take over the world.
Thanks. Thank you very much. To all the users, thanks for listening. Any ideas, any suggestions, any collaborations, anything that you want, always contact us. We're happy to hear from you. Matt, thank you very much for having us on board today.
All right, there you go. My conversation with Elad Yaacov and Lee Alexander of Tonepedia. Check it out. Links in the show notes. It's a lot of fun. I should also mention Lee is the admin or the moderator or the guy who runs the Pedalboards of Doom Facebook group, which has, check this out, over 67,000 members in that group. I know a lot of our listeners are actually members there, so that's crazy, that site. So Lee is so deeply invested in the pedal community, so it's been very cool to have today's conversation in the Tonepedia context. All right, don't forget there is our PayPal tip jar in the show notes, as well as links to Scotty Burford's stuff and his fantastic new podcast series as well. That's about it for me. My name's Matt Wakeling. You've been listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time. Bye now.